Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's reading. My name is Katerina Stoikova. I'm the current president of the Kentucky State Poetry Society. This is a big year for us. It is our 60th anniversary. Membership includes a vibrant online community, readings, open mics, contests, free workshops, and a yearly conference. And this year we're celebrating our 60th anniversary, and as a thank you to our members, the conference is included in the cost of membership. So mark your calendar. There will be an all-day online conference on October 31st. And so it will be scary good, right? And the keynote is poet Ricardo Nazario y Colon. He is a fabulous bilingual author. And we're excited to hear him and him read and to hear what he has to say. Today we'll hear from a fabulous poet from Elizabethtown, and we'll hear her read. Then we will have an opportunity for a Q&A, and then everyone is welcome to sign up for the open mic by, letting me know or putting your name in the chat when time for the open mic comes. And now I'll introduce our featured reader, Jan LaPerle's book of poetry, Maybe the Land Sings Back, was published by Galileo Books. Her other books include a book of poetry, It Would Be Quiet, from Prime Minster Press, an chapbook of flash fiction, Hush, out from Sundress Publications, a story in verse, A Pretty Place to Mourn, Blaze Box 2014, and several other stories and poems. She completed her MFA from Southern Illinois University. She lives in Kentucky, where she retired from the Army at Fort Knox and now teaches middle school English. Please help me welcome Jan LaPerle. Take it away, Jan.
Thank you, Katerina, so much. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for having me. And thank you to all of you who are here to listen and to read. So, yes, I started teaching last Thursday. So I'm feeling a little kind of mentally drained already this year. And it's only the fourth day. And one thing that I am teaching my students, and one thing that I do very often, is letter writing. I have a lot of pen pals, and a lot of my poems come out of that letter writing. I think it's really important to get, your pencil or pen on paper and to send something in the mail. It's just so much more sincere. So this first poem that I'm reading is called Spring Lambing, and it is in response to correspondence with my friend Sue, who lives on a farm. And she had written to me about her about spring lambing, which is something that's a little bit foreign to me, and how she was nursing a baby donkey. And it was so sweet and so moving. So that's where this poem is coming from. Spring lambing. I'm narrating a return letter to my friend while I'm out in the dark with a dog when I notice the tree buds. How long, I ask the letter in my head, have they been there? The thirst of warm spring air takes my hand. The crocus patches signal, open their wings. I fall in, and things feel yellow now, like I've swallowed wool. Like it's me, not you, tending the sweet baby donkey. the one who put his nose to mine in his first hours of life. I held him until the end. I'm breathing, but my breath crystallizes. I can't for the life of me call it a star. Thank you. This next one is called 2050. I don't think it needs much. Maybe just my eyesight is going. I'm really struggling even to see my poems, but I just don't want to give in to wearing my glasses all the time, but I probably need to. 2050. This morning, my husband and I were discussing AI, and he said by 2050, or did he say 2500, we'll be living until we're 1,000 years old. Then he said, think, I could start collecting Social Security at 65 and then go golfing for 800 years. The night before, during my daughter's cello lesson, her teacher's one-eyed cat slipped into my daughter's cello case. Some days feel like this, like I'm simply slipping away, my eyes going first. At the grocery store, I hold a can in my hand and I can't read anything. My teeth crowd together, frightened too of all the changes around them. So I start Invisalign. All night, it's like chewing on credit cards. My friend sends me a letter explaining his anticlimactic emptiness. I write back all about the birds, how they spring from one tree to another, then to the line, to the garden. They feel nothing of the electricity running across this town in sad zigzags. The sunflowers, tall and reflecting in the neighbor's window, show me the sun on their petals. Okay. My husband comes in. He pets the cat. He tells me the news of his friend, the friend who came to visit my husband when he was receiving chemo. Well, now he's gone. His own cancer, faster and stronger. I want so badly to think of him happy out there, somewhere beyond his body. Whatever it is, here we are, trudging away, vacuuming spider webs and dusting furniture. Across this long house, I carry my green bucket of sloshing water, pink rubber gloves. In all this, there's just no way I'm slipping away. Yeah, I've started Invisalign. I'm just finishing it, and I'm so glad to be done with it. I don't know if any of you have done it, but it's like, it's awful. It just feels like my mouth is always full of plastic. So it's finally over. So this one, I don't write a lot about my military career. Doesn't seem very interesting, really. But the last 2 years while I was in the Army, I mostly was teleworking. And so I retired from Fort Knox, and every once in a while, I would have to go to Fort Knox and do something for our unit. So this one's called Soldier at Work. During my daughter's tennis practice, I watched from the bleachers as she told the other girls where to stand and what to do. I'd been walking our dog around the lake. I let her off the leash for a bit along the rocky shore. She'd run up, look back. I'd crouch down. She'd hop and run fast toward me like we're old friends meeting again after time apart. Later, watching a movie, we heard explosions like bombs. My husband said it was a car's backfire. This morning, he stood in front of my closed office door and read the comments beneath an article about Fort Knox reopening their artillery range. On Thursday for work, I drove to Post to find tables for the financial team to host a potluck. It took me half a day. My brother called at one point asking what I was doing. After I told him, I added, protecting our country. We laughed together then, our laughter crossing all that distance to meet in the middle. My brother lives in New Hampshire, so I don't see him very often. If any of you are familiar with I-65, the I-65 that runs from Nashville through Louisville, this one was on a drive on I-65. It's called Fireweed. We are driving to Louisville on a pretty Saturday. My daughter and her best friend in the back seat playing this game. What landscape would you be? The fields, once burned, now flooded, float on each side of this long road we are on. My daughter, a mountain, of course. Her friend, a river. Her voice, all watershed. I feel my daughter's feet on the back of my seat, the rubber of her shoes, their beans from vines threaded tightly through the arbor of my ribs. Oh, so dramatic, says my pocketbook, riding along on the passenger seat. Look how quiet she is today, just watching it all pass. The landscape of construction sites closed for the weekend. I tell the girls what I learned once about fireweed, how they grow in places where something catastrophic has occurred, like a fire or a moving glacier. We drive on in silence. Then I think someone says heartbreak, but all I see are bumpers and license plates from other worlds I'd like to be driving toward. I'd be a river too, I whisper into the crack of the window. The air or me, a current too strong. The point of the game is to have empathy for the planes, I suppose, as they wait. Or is it the dunes longing for the tide? I don't hear any of this in the voices of the girls, or their laughter echoing inside their bodies, they say, that are now caves, the thought of which crashes through me, a shifting shore. The shoulder pulls at my wheels. The sun covers my eyes with both hands, but still I hold on and drive straight. Sorry, I'm like, I just had a thing of yogurt, which was like the worst thing to eat right before you're about to speak. Um, I'm not sure if anyone's seen the Girl Scout movie. Kind of excited about it, but my daughter was a Girl Scout for several years, and we spent a lot of time, excuse me, selling cookies and going to camps. And I actually really loved it. And she quit Girl Scouts much earlier than I was ready for. um, so this one's about a friend of mine who actually I was growing pretty close to, and her daughter was a Girl Scout. This is called Tether. When I wash dishes in our old sink, I can feel the weight of my daughter in her room above me. It's the most comfortable sound, like wheat in wind or stars. Some days I want to shut her bedroom door to keep her there. Shh. I am downstairs tightening all the sharp edges of this life I set down onto water, a sponge I watch float from me. I pretend again I am all goddess, grab the sponge and keep scrubbing. My toes curl in their slippers. I know we are the wingless ones, the mothers. Let me depend on the bright morning to carry me. But that morning I received a call. There was an accident. My friend's daughter, she's gone, 11 years old. The sink floods, and I think it is fear spreading across the floor. At the funeral, I stood along the far wall as my friend moved person to person, and I waited while she waded toward me, held me like a raft. I tried, but I was sinking. This is a way I know I will die from. I am not safe. I cannot keep my daughter safe, but here at the sink or anywhere, no comfort from the dishes, even the clean ones, the net beneath us draining water. Maybe two more? Is that good? Two or three? Yeah, I
Please,
don't.
at least five more. We
Five
are
more.
wrapped here. At least five more.
Well, I have three more. How about that? Okay. Um, I, this one is about um outdoor showers or taking a shower in an outdoor shower. It is kind of like one of my very favorite things. And I'm just going to put that out there that I am turning 50 this year and I'm asking for my 50th birthday. I'm saying this because my husband's listening. For my 50th birthday, I would love an outdoor shower. There's something about it that just makes me feel so like alive and clean, and it's just so wonderful. So this is called Ode to Outdoor Showers, and this is in Cocoa Beach, Florida, where I took my daughter last spring. You'll probably hearing I write a lot about my daughter and my husband. So while my daughter steams up the bathroom with her hot shower, I stand outside in the cold outdoor shower with the wind whipping the shower curtain like a flag, all caught in the poles of my legs. The palm trees shedding around me, their mechanical parts flying past where I stand, naked, hooped over, an umbrella's handle, trying to wash myself in flip-flops, my toes sandpapering each other. Through the fence slats, I watch the neighbors pass. Their hair is whipping, their dogs sniffing, and here I am, adding water to the flooded backyard. I stand among old fronds and fallen fruit, a solar system resting here in the grasses of this Florida rental unit I paid for because I'm on vacation with my little girl who is drying off now and dressing up to leave me soon for the big world. And here I am alone, swaying in a wind, and my husband too is somewhere alone, many states away. Earlier, we were texting pictures of our coffee cups, casting shadows that fell straight from our tables. Okay. This is a long one, and then I will read one more. So, for a few years, I bought my brother's Mustang. It was so fun to drive. But once my daughter got her license, it was not practical to drive a Mustang as a daily driver. So I sold it and got something practical. So there's a little bit of um, reference to the Mustang. And this one, it's called Don't Be Afraid, Little Flock. My daughter rings the neighbor's doorbell. I am in their holly bushes waiting. This little bird is another lesson on Ding Dong Ditch. The neighbor sends us a video of my daughter tiptoeing away and us giggling in the bushes. I tell myself daily that resistance to change is just another wall between us and the joy we find there in that prickly holly. Some Sundays I hang a basket of muffins on their doorknob, muffins wrapped in a warm kitchen towel. Do you see me there, flying across the street between us in apron, house slippers, tasting a bit of the world my cat would like to be in? He watches from the window. His styrofoam bird sprung on a thick wire, the whole contraption, including this life we pretend is real, like at lunchtime, when everything on this side of the table is a lesson to straighten in the chair for. Pass the napkins. Sit with me inside these threads of window sun. I am stitched to a day holding her warm basket of cardinal song. Steam clouds disappear in the wind. The dry shrubbery holds last night's eyes closed. I think about this sandwich and how when I set myself down, poems move off, pushing through the far fields like worms, or the feral cat at the barn where my daughter rides her horse. In one field, there's a blind horse with two seeing eye donkeys, their ears like satellites, catching warm hay bale vibes. I sweep the barn floor, later the kitchen floor, always at the end of the day. I take a peek at what I've shed. Oh, poem, My secret little wind machine, how you rescue me each time. My bicycle seat is so loose it feels like I am on a carousel, holding life still going forward. All afternoon, my kitty curls on the turned back rim of the made bed until I cannot hardly stay awake. So I join him and let my daydreams play themselves out in the square of late day sunshine. I love yellow anyway. I love this solitary road of belief and my Mustang in the carport. My daughter asks again and again for a saddlebag. My cat sprints through the house sounding like a saddleless horse. This is his hardwood wood pasture. His toy balls and birds and mice tinkle with bells. Isn't this life sweet enough for now? For the record, yes, I am happy to be here. Tomorrow I'll drive through the mountain in the spaces between atoms. The mice my cat catches in the night watch their lives slip away from the room corner. I sleep unaware of lives passing on the floor beside me or in cars. I buckle my seatbelt and I head down the road. Even when a rock spits out from the car in front of me, when my windshield cracks and my eyes strain, when the headlights fill only a pocket of darkness, I drive fast with only one hand on the wheel. All right, this last one is a winter poem. It's about a Kentucky snowman. I'm not a big fan of winter, but I try to embrace it. So this is a little bit of embracing the winter. Thank you all again for coming, and thank you, Katerina. Kentucky snowmen. Kentucky snowmen only last a day or two. I didn't think of that last night in the yard, rolling the snow with my little girl. I didn't think of her waking and asking, how do I say I'm sorry? I whisper as if it won't hurt as bad. She is still in bed, asking again and again. I went to the yard early, hours before she woke. I tried in the dark to reassemble him. He seemed so solid. He was taller than us. By morning, the scattered parts of him lied at my feet, car lights passing like moons across us. It looked as if I were the one who did this to him. My daughter cries. Her bread hides in the toaster. What I do in this moment changes nothing but our minds. He left, I tell her, for New Hampshire to live with my grandmother, her namesake, I tell her. There he can live a long season. Isn't that time enough? This quiet that follows, I wish there were a door to it. I wish I could see my grandmother waving in the window when the snowman arrives. A cardinal, his legs in the snow. We used every bit of snowfall to build our snowman. In one photograph, he's standing on our brown lawn. In another, the neighbors are there, delighted by him too, his brown leaves sticking here and there from his stack. It was the surprise of him, his strength and imperfection, a stone smile pinned to the middle of an unpredicted storm. He brought us all joy for a moment. The thought of today being a warm one hid deep in us, and we loved him just the way we should. Thank you.
Wow, Jan. Wow, I was rapt. I was mesmerized the whole time with your images and with the emotion in every line, and also the sense of motion. There is a lot of motion in your poems. Did you guys notice that there is a lot of movement? Driving or walking or riding a horse or so your poems are not only very visual and emotional but also very dynamic also.
Thank
uh,
you.
I'm going to start with a question and then I'm going to invite other people to ask their questions. My first question is, what would you do if you were to live 1,000 years?
Oh gosh. I would not teach. Um, uh, oh gosh. Um, Maybe I would just go golfing with my husband. I don't know. I would write poems. Can you imagine how like good our poems would be? I mean, like sometimes I feel like I'm not getting any better. I mean, I sort of, as I was reading, I realized, oh my goodness, every poem starts with my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. Maybe if I lived 1,000 years, I would have other things to write about, have a little more perspective.
But if I guess, uh, or you would forget what you wrote,
Yeah.
in your 300s, and then you write something completely different in your 600s. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, and imagine all the reading of poetry you can do in like
Yes.
1,000 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Other questions? Questions from other people? Michelle, you probably have something.
A comment. I loved the mentions of your daughter,
Yeah.
and I loved the poem Soldier at Work. And I just find that fascinating because it's a different world for me. And to see it through your eyes, it was just beautifully portrayed. And I think how lucky your daughter is, to have that experience of a mom who's a teacher, who's a soldier, who is so many things. And I am curious, how do you share perhaps the writing of poetry with her?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think she's kind of at this age where it's interesting to her, but I feel a little like she's not really like she doesn't say, "Hey, Mama, can I read your poems?" Right? And a lot of times, when she wakes up in the morning on the weekends, because I try to write every weekend, she'll come into my office and I'm usually working on something. She doesn't, she doesn't, she's not interested right now.
Yeah.
So, but I think she like, because me and my husband are poets. I think she likes the idea because she talks like she was telling her boyfriend's mom. She's like, "Oh, both of my parents are poets." So it's more of an idea than it is like,
How
I
old is
don't know.
she?
She will be 16 on Saturday.
I'm a retired teacher, and there's a point in a child's life where they are fascinated with poetry, and then something shifts,
Mhm.
and that continues, but usually it doesn't. Usually there's a fear of it and a thought that it's something reserved for only some people.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel a little bit fortunate. I'm teaching just a poetry class for one of my classes. It's a careers class, and they made it for me, which
Wow.
is really awesome. Um, but I have sixth, seventh, and eighth graders in there, and it's interesting. It is, yeah. I don't have quite enough perspective to say anything more, but an exercise that I had done many times from in many different spaces I had tried today, and I was like, what am I doing? But we got through it. So, yeah, teaching is a hard thing, but it's, I don't know. It's hard to think of doing anything else right now. So, and it's much more meaningful than anything I did in the army,
Mm.
you know. So,
I loved your poem about the tragedy about the death of the 11-year-old girl. I mean, wow. And all the images, the image of the sink overflowing and the water on the floor, and then the mother grabbing you, or the lyrical um, lyrical hero. And I'm translating directly from Bulgarian. The main character grabbing as a raft. Uh,
mhm,
what an incredible metaphor. It's just a comment. I don't have a question about that. It's just my son has lost friends, in young age, and it's an imaginable thing, and I've never written anything about that, and I wouldn't know how to approach it, but the way that you did it, I admire very much.
Thank you. It's it's so difficult. So yeah, I think the poem said it, but just reading it, really reminds me of, just that time and how hard
Mhm.
it was and how it just feels so close. It's like, yeah.
And I have one more question about pen pals. Uh, how do you get them? Actually, I have personal story with pen pals, which I'm not going to get into. That's how I got married and came into the United States. That's it in one sentence. I'm not going to say any more about that. But tell us, how can one get a real pen pal? Because I mean, the opportunities to write and to actually physically handle paper, they are so far and few between.
Yeah, I write so many letters. Probably every weekend I write to at least two people, maybe three, maybe four. Um, and people write back. And so it's nice because I feel like I always have something to write, right? I
Mhm.
always have a response. And so to me, it feels like the material almost always comes from letters just because I'm not feeling like I'm going to sit down and write a poem, which doesn't often work for me. Um, One of my longest pen pals was just a friend I had when I was in Greenville, Tennessee. We both taught at Tusculum College, and that was in 2015. So we've been writing about 10 years, just back and forth. And we started writing when we were neighbors, even, and we've just continued to write. And I moved away, you know, several years ago. I also go to a couple of times a year, I go to the Loretto Mother House, and it's a writing retreat with Pauletta
Yeah,
Hansel.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and the last time we met, she taught epistolaries, and everyone had to exchange their address with someone. So started, I started writing letters to that person who was assigned to me, but several other people said, "Oh, you write letters all the time. Can I have your address? Can we be pen pals?" So just that weekend, I got three, maybe four pen pals. Um, and then I have a pen pal who from the military. And we were both going through some really rough times at the same time, and we've continued to write to each other. Um, I've never even talked to him on the phone or anything. Every once in a while, if I don't get a letter from him for a long time, I'll text him and say, like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" Um, and and then I used to write to my grandmother before she passed away. Um, and they would write back, and then I write to my aunt in New Hampshire.
Mhm.
So there's lots of people in my life. And then when my husband and I were first met each other, we wrote letters to each other, and so I still have those. So that was very romantic.
But speaking of process, what you said a little bit in the beginning, uh, some of it turned into poems, or you can use what you wrote, like using maybe the letter as a first draft, and then you harvest a poem out of it. Is that what you do, or teach us, please?
Yeah, harvest. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. A lot of times I'll write a letter, and um, and you kind of like have that gut instinct that, like, oh, this is just a matter of fact letter that I'm just telling them about what's been going on. Sometimes you really like get going in a letter, right? So in those cases, I know there's something in there. I just can't see it because I just wrote it. So a lot of times I'll fold it up, address it, put the stamp on it, and just put it aside for several days or even a week, and then open it back up. And then I'm like, oh, these are some really nice lines. They're surprising,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I will just copy them in a file, or I'll just, try to craft a poem from it right there. But it just kind of depends.
What about the letters that you receive? Do you see poems in there that you can like co-found poems or do erasures from?
I haven't done an erasure, but that's like kind of a really great idea. That would be interesting, like even a collection of like the erasure of the original poem and then a response.
Hmm.
I hadn't thought of that, but I really like it. I need to remember that. Um,
Hey, we're recording.
but like the letter from Sue, I mean, she wrote this. Oh, it was so moving. I had my daughter read it, the letter that she wrote about her donkey. I was just like, it made me cry. It was so beautiful. And after she wrote it, she even said, I don't know why I'm telling you this. You're probably not interested. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like that was because you think like your own moments aren't going to be interesting to other people, but it's just like those small details of our lives that are like, that's what, I mean, that's what life is, right? Um, so that, the first poem I read, Spring Lambing, was, directly in response to her letter. So.
Anybody else? Do you have any other questions for Jan? Oh, Jan, that was fabulous. I really enjoyed your reading. Everybody, a round
Thank
of
you.
applause for Jan again.
Thank you for the support, because it's so hard. Write poems for so long and
And it
you
shows,
forget.
you write poems
Right.
for your long and it shows. Yeah.
But I
So,
mean, it's so like nobody ever, hardly you ever share them. Or at least for me, I feel like I hardly
mhm,
ever share them. So it just feels nice to share and get feedback. It's kind of like fuel.
right, of course,
So,
of
so I
course.
appreciate it. So
And
thank
it's
you.
fuel for the listeners too, because now I feel like I want a pen pal.
Well, you are welcome to write to me.
Hey,
I would absolutely write back. I love pen pals. And so,
yeah,
yeah, I would be your pen pal if you wanted.
awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And who else wants to read tonight in the open mic? And I think that we could read couple poems each at the open mic if you would want. Um, going once?
I didn't prepare anything for tonight.
3-minute break for everybody to pull poems, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I need to go get poems too. So,
Okay.
Sandra, you can read us at least one children's book. Mary, would you read for us, please? If you would, you got 3 minutes to prepare. So, everybody, see you in 3 minutes. I think we can get started. Sandra, do you have something that you want to share?
Well, I guess I'll read my Wayward Watermelon Vine story because it's watermelon season and I adore eating watermelon. And I have a watermelon vine growing in my garden, which is not making me a watermelon, but it's a wonderful vine. And it's growing way past where, it started, but anyway, I digress. I'm going to have to call up Microsoft Word here. I hope this is going to work. It's called the Wayward Watermelon Vine. Can you hear me okay? Can you still see me even though I can't see you?
See you okay? Hear you okay?
Okay, because I'm only seeing my Microsoft Word, so I'm not tried this before. Okay. On a small Kentucky farm lived an adventuresome, outspoken vine. I'm not staying put, it said. I'm one of a kind. I'm going to keep growing till I see the whole world. Then the vine moved 12 inches, tendrils extended, then curled. The farmers were amazed. They could actually see the vine grow. It took only an instant for it to climb over the fence row. The vine followed the lane to the edge of town and continued to the top of Flood Mountain and then down, down, down to the banks of Licking River, where catfish are as big as whales. Didn't the river stop that vine, you may ask? No, it wrapped round the bridge rails. But the most shocking, incredible, unbelievable thing of all were the hundreds of melons, like smooth green ping pong balls. How could one vine produce so many melons? Nobody understood. It defied logic. It was untellable. The vine grew the vine grew near Highway 60 for many long miles. People came out of their homes to watch. It brought laughter and smiles. When it got to the city of Huntington, there was traffic everywhere. There's no choice except rooftops, the vine said. Do I dare? And so the vine grew and grew for a number of weeks across West Virginia and Virginia, through valleys, atop peaks, until finally, at last, that vine reached the ocean. What will I do now? It said. I don't have a notion. I can't swim like a fish. I can't cross this vast space. The long, tired vine turned around and away it raced. I can make it back home before the weather turns cold. I miss that little farm where my roots first took hold. Since it followed itself back, it was much quicker going. The vine grew faster and faster, and thousands of melons were showing. These watermelons were getting big, almost eaten size. But don't harvest them too early, that would not be wise. On a cool morn in mid-August, the vine arrived back at the farm. It looked around fondly. This place still has charm. On that very same day, all along the route where it grew, people ate sweet, juicy watermelon with friends, old and new.
Yay, Sandra, thank you.
Beautiful.
Did you want to share a second piece?
No, that's enough.
That's okay. Bill, we are in our open mic portion, so feel free to prepare a couple poems to share. And now it's Michelle.
So I wrote several poems when I was at Heinemann a couple of weeks ago, and I was really inspired by some of the poets I was reading at the time. And one is Jim Minnick, who is a poet new to me, but he had sort of a duality poem. So this is Oma, and that's what my grandson calls me, Oma. Oma and Michelle ponder enough. After James and Jim ponder enough by Jim Minnick. 1. We live inside a burrow, backs against wide wooden planks. against cool Tennessee soil. A burrow of 2 today, grandmother and toddler grandson. Our eyes stare up and out a window, clear to a soft blue sky on a rare June day that the sun does not dominate. When the quiet is broken, when the loud boy voice drops low, full of knowledge not yet spoiled, a voice speaks of a cardinal friend who visits him daily to cheer, cheer, cheer. Magic when he cuddles closer, says, Oma, my friend says hello to you too. In the minute he is still, a world of fascination seeps in. In the minutes he is up and scurrying around his sacred burrow, I am served up green ice cream from a cloud and a glimpse of both our futures. 2. We live inside our burrow, our backs against the corner, pine boards knotted with dead branches. A burrow alone with only our thoughts today, tracing the dust where his bare feet trod only yesterday. Our grandson absent, we have snuck in to capture what can be caught. But the still air's humidity causes chest pains. There is no flash of red song, only a thick-throated common grackle cry. Reedle-keek, reedle-eek, chack. We watch the bird outside the tightening window. Its black iridescent breast puffs out, its neck feathers the way a dying muscle stutters and hitches. Like a rusty metal hinge of a gate, we expect a fog today, gray cloud to descend and serve up a shroud and a glimpse of how we disappear.
Wow, Michelle. Wonderful poems. Thank you. Mary, would you like to share next?
I'm sorry, I'm actually in my car driving, so
That's okay.
I'll just listen today.
That's okay. Thank you. Maybe next time.
Thank
Clay.
you.
I will read a poem from a collection that's also a lot about our daughter, so she's getting a lot of it playtime tonight. This one's called Rocking Chairs. Not even a year old, and my daughter stands at the edge of the deck with a wildness in her eyes and thinks about jumping. I don't know where we learn self-destruction. The lilies bloom quickly now and go out, but their green shoots will persist a little bit longer. Over drinks the other night, a friend told me he'd been reading about how turtles never age, that it appears they're only killed by accidents, cars, raccoons, diseases that knock them out in waves from the top to the bottom. I think about the Iroquois creation story, a woman falling off the edge of the sky, floating down into the darkness, and then landing on the back of a great sea turtle, the turtle itself becoming the world. I think about my daughter and the way she hangs off the end of the bed, my hand wrapped around her small ankle, dangling her like a lure over water. Over drinks, my friend said he needed a spiritual experience and asked if having a child was like that. I said, yes, I think. But all I could really think about was turtles, how slow they seem, how patient, how their shells demand they be somewhat kind to their bodies. It's June, and so the mosquitoes erase any logic or train of thought. Why does anything exist? A woman down the road comes out of her trailer and fires off a bottle rocket, goes back inside, closing the door while the news puts on a shadow show through her curtains. In the creation story, it was the birds that broke the fall of the woman coming down between worlds. Outside in the mornings with the windows open, I hear them singing. Their songs, all beautiful, are not my own. But when I move my arms to scoop my daughter from another disaster, sometimes I pretend they're wings.
Thank you so much, Clay. Amazing. And yes, the daughter can be proud. Both my parents are poets. Bill, what do you want to share?
Um, I'll share this one called Rejoice, since Clay mentioned small birds, and that got me thinking about this poem. Rejoice. These small birds, ragtag sparrows, common finches, will be the death of me. I worry how they'll survive harsh winter with all small puddles frozen solid, sustaining seeds so scarce, the sun's warmth faint as silk on skin. From what source do they draw strength while clinging to branch and bramble through midnight storms? What must flashes of light and growling percussion seem to one so small when it seems grown dogs cowering under my desk? Yet early next morning, they sing beneath the bedroom window, barely a wink of light in the sky. Their loud chittering, science tells us, trait evolved to attract mates, not hymns of gratitude nor songs of triumph. But if they were, who could blame them for wanting to wake the world?
Are you going to read another? Or you're...
We're doing two? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one called The Hidden Creek. The creek had been cold and contained long ago, but there is a place that spills out of the mouth of the concrete pipe and fills the old path earth and time conspired to create for it, turning sharply at the towering oak, flowing straight and true in the low spot where honeysuckle grows. I think of the creek. I think of us on our one pass through this world, constrained by inherited expectations, damned by stifling norms and prescriptive shoulds, pumped with poisons to body and spirit, surfacing after suffering so many miles beneath, becoming who we were always meant to be, back to the light where we always belonged.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill. I'll share a poem. I write a lot about work. That's what I'm obsessed with. Anyway, that's what I do. And the title of this poem is in quotes, I'm about to quit working. And it's one of those poems that the title leads into the first sentence. So I'm just going to read the whole thing from the beginning. I'm about to quit working, said no appliance ever. They just stop turning on in a quiet shift or a brief boom and flash preceding resignation. No drama, no drawn-out dilemma, no guilt, no justification, over-explaining, no drawn-out weeks where you walk like a ghost through the office in the time-space between announcing and departing. No calculating how you'll manage without the wages, no awkward talk with your boss behind closed doors, no dreaded farewell lunches, no hovering colleagues. One day the dishwasher makes a mess. The refrigerator snores, slobbers, and shrugs. The space heater ignores the on-off button and teleports to a space of its own. If you don't obey the rules of others, you get to make new ones that triumph, though you may find yourself in a world where nobody else understands, though you may look around and see no one else. Thank you. Well, several weeks later, on the 26th of August, we will have our next reading, Kentucky Poets with Kathleen Driscoll. Join us. It's always great fun. Thank you all. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Clay. Thank you, everybody, for coming and reading and listening and supporting us.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so